Welcome into a Saturday night edition of Locked On Astros. Tonight, we're going to listen and we're going to hear Dusty Baker's thoughts, Framber Valdez's thoughts, and my thoughts on the Bryan Abreu suspension. Having a hard time even saying it. It's hard to believe. We're going to talk about it tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us at Locked On Astros. Let's go.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
Hey everybody, welcome in. I'm Htown Wheelhouse with Locked On Astros. Thank you for tuning into a special Saturday night edition of Locked On Astros. This is kind of a postseason special. I've got the ALCS Saturday workout, and some of y'all may have already seen portions or the interviews, but I wanted to put them into a show format to talk about them, to kind of give my thoughts. And what I did, the Dusty Baker interview is about 12 minutes long, and he actually comments and says this is a long session. So I split it into two 6.5-minute segments. So I guess about a little over 13 minutes. And then I've got Framber's reaction, and I've got the questions, and he does have some answers where he answers questions, but the questions were given in Spanish. I didn't have the English translation. So I just gave his response or his interpreter's response to a question. So I'm not sure what's asked in two of those questions. So just to clarify that when we get to those segments. But hey, before we get started, I want to tell y'all that last night on the way home from Minute Maid Park North, we stopped at the Buc-ee's in Ennis, and look who I ran into. That's right, Jose Abreu. I ran into Jose Abreu at the Buc-ee's. When I first saw him, I saw him from his left side, and I wasn't sure it was him. I went and filled up my drink. I was just getting some water. And then I turned around. And I said, if he has the 3 crosses tattoo on his neck, it's definitely Jose Abreu. Well, it was him. And he was there in Buc-ee's. He was kind enough to take a picture with me. And then I felt bad because after I took a picture with him, people started going up to him. He was there with his wife. He was there, I believe, his kids. And I think there was maybe one of their moms was there. I just saw him and his wife, and it was their interpreter, and he was kind of helping them get around the store. Yeah, well, thank you for the compliment. Nice photo, but here's the problem. I was tired. It was the end of it. It was a 19-hour day for me. Left Houston at 6:45, got to Texas Live at 11, and then we were there all day and all night for that amazing, amazing game. So to top off the Astros win, we meet Jose Abreu shopping at Buc-ee's. He's just like you and me. So let's get to it. So what I have here is, first off, I just want to give you an update on the Bryan Abreu suspension. I'll give you my thoughts in the third segment because I want to get to Dusty's comments because he actually says I love Dusty's press conferences. And I've just got to say this. Dusty won a lot of points, I think, with this fan base last night. He should have already won a lot of points. I know a lot of people don't like his lineups and all that stuff. But his emotion last night and the way he handled the situation, he's handled this whole thing. How can you not love this guy right now? But Jeff Passan updated this tweet. It was updated about 2 hours ago. He said Bryan Abreu was suspended 2 games for what MLB deemed as intentional hit by pitch in Game 5 of the ALCS. If Abreu appeals, there will be a hearing within 48 hours. If any suspension is upheld and the Astros are alive, he would serve it now, which is unprecedented. So before I launch into my comments and how I think that's complete farce, how they're handling it, let's check out the words from Dusty Baker. About 6.5 minutes long on this. So let's go.
All right, we'll get started with Dusty. Edwin and Ryan have microphones. We'll start with Danielle, about 4 rows back in the middle.
Yes.
Hey, Dusty. Last night after the ejection, were you able to still be involved in the decisions for pinch hitting in the ninth, or who was making those?
Well, I mean, those are things that, like I told you before, I'm always inning or two ahead. So, I was telling guys to get prepared long before the action. So, doesn't matter who made the decision, we won.
I mean, but obviously it paid off in a big way. But what went into the reasoning to put Diaz and Singleton up in those big spots?
Well, like I said, I don't really feel like I really need to understand just the thing that worked and we won.
We'll go to Christy here in the second row.
Hey, Dusty, with
Yes.
you guys going 3-0 in your orange jerseys, is there any thought to wearing them tomorrow night?
I don't know. I haven't even talked to Carl. I know Framber likes to wear the blue. And so it's I got to talk to Carl and Framber again.
And kind of to build off that, everybody's talked all season about y'all's struggles at home. Like,
Yeah.
what is kind of the message now? I mean, obviously they know they have to win, but like, is there anything you're saying about that?
No, I mean, what can I say? If I had the magic words, I'd have said them like 2 months ago. So we just got to get it done. There are no words that can describe what we have to do. Simply action.
Go to Disha on the left center aisle there.
Hey, Dusty.
Yes.
Just yesterday after you were arguing with the umpires, they eject you, and then you sat back down on the bench. Just what was your thought process in doing that? And, can you kind of just take me through what was
Well, my
going through your
thought
mind?
process is that I wasn't ready to go because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. That was my thought process.
So did they eventually come back over and just said, you're ejected, you kind of have to go now, or how did that work?
Well, yeah, they came back over. I mean, were you watching yesterday? Yeah. Okay, then you saw them come back over
Right.
then, right?
I was wondering what they said to you.
Well, they didn't say much. They kind of just turned around and said, he's not leaving. And then they turned around and said they can't start till I leave.
Go to Chandler on the same row.
Dusty, tomorrow should have a ton of emotion and kind of intensity involved with the game. With Framber, just how incumbent is it that he controls himself, controls his emotions? And
Well, it's always incumbent of that. But hey, Framber's pitched big games before. I mean, I think we're making a lot out of Framber's emotions. In the last couple games, it wasn't his emotions as much as his location. He wasn't sharp. So the main thing is that we have to, or Framber has to, and Maldy. We talk about emotions, but you got those strikes and quality strikes and in quality location. If he does that, then emotions never come into play.
Third row on your right, Greg.
Dusty, Texas has really ridden a roller coaster over the last month. They found ways to bounce back from what seemed to be demoralizing losses. Obviously, yesterday, a real gut punch for them. How dangerous an opponent are they tomorrow coming in here?
No, they're not any more dangerous tomorrow than they were yesterday. We've had some tough losses too. We've had a roller coaster too. At the end of the year, if we both weren't on the roller coaster, then we both would have had big leads on each other. We were losing to Kansas City, 5 out of 6 games. We lost 2 out of 3 to Oakland. You can't be more on a roller coaster than that. Then we go in and beat Seattle, and then we, turn around and beat Arizona. That's a roller coaster too. So, the season has its ups and downs, twists and turns, and like I said, we've both been on a roller coaster.
Go one row behind with Matt.
Do you expect any sort of carryover from last night into tomorrow regarding the tensions or anything like that?
Regarding what?
Regarding the tensions coming out of the 8th inning?
Yeah, probably.
How do you think that might manifest itself?
Man, I don't know. I don't have no crystal ball. It's going to be what it's going to be. You have to wait and see, just like me. Like you don't script it. It just happens.
Go to Adam in the second row on your left, Dusty.
Along those lines, Dusty, I mean, you've talked about, kind of feeding off the energy. There have been, some times these past few seasons under your leadership that incidents have maybe sparked this club. Can you kind of speak to what that does, maybe kind of adding a little bit of fuel to the bunch?
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily want the people and the kids in the country, the fans, and the players. The players don't want to get into fights and skirmishes. I mean, and most of these guys know each other. Especially the Latin guys are closer than anybody. But when emotions get high, I mean, you ever got an argument with your mom or your dad or your brothers? I mean, it happens, and you don't script it. It's a spontaneous, combustible reaction that gets out of control. So, and most of us want to be under control. Most of us just want to play ball. Most of us don't want to box, But if it comes to that, most of the time you feel terrible after, but during it gets out of control.
So, hey, what's up? How's it going? Thank y'all for watching that. Dusty just says some key things in there, and I totally love his attitude and the approach he takes. He backs up his team. I'll show y'all the second half of that interview. Thank y'all for hanging out. But we'll get to Dusty Baker's second half interview. Then I'll give you kind of my complete thoughts on what he just said. But before we do that, all right, how does free Thanksgiving sound to you this year? Ibotta is here to give you cash back and help you make sure that your Thanksgiving table is complete, because who wants turkey without the dressing? Turkey is great, and we all know the best part of Thanksgiving dinner are the sides. With Ibotta, you can make sure that you get the whole family's favorite side dishes and the turkey while getting yourself cash back. Big holidays means big family get-togethers, and you don't have to spend all that money on the Thanksgiving spread without getting something in return. With Ibotta, you can get your turkey and all your favorite sides for free. That's right. Starting November 1st, for the fourth year in a row, Ibotta is giving $100 cash back on your Thanksgiving feast. They're like the Houston Astros of discount companies. Just add the offers in this app to redeem for everything you need to make your Thanksgiving complete. All you have to do is shop at your favorite retailers and upload the receipt. It's that simple. Other apps give you points and they don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you get real cash back that you can cash out into your bank account, PayPal, or into gift cards. Also, online brands, retailers as well. They start, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. So download the Ibotta app now and use the code MLB to get 100% cash back on your Thanksgiving dinner starting November 1st. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download your free Ibotta app and use the code MLB. That's IBOTTA at the Google Play or Apple Play Store. Use the promo code MLB. So look, ladies and gentlemen, Dusty Baker in this game put his team on his back and fought for his guys. There's absolutely no reason why Bryan Abreu should be suspended, period. To suspend a player on purely assuming that his intention was to hit the player in a game where you're down 2 runs, in a game where if you lose, you're down 3-2, in a game where you're down where no team has won a single game in this series, and you think the Astros are going to intentionally put Adolis Garcia on base with a hit by pitch, let me tell you how this entire situation changes. Adolis Garcia gets hit. Maybe he's upset. He puts his bat down. He takes his shoulder pad off. He puts it on the ground and he walks to first base. No incident, no bench clearing activities, no emptying of the bullpens, no 12-minute delay that the Rangers blamed for the Leclerc fallacy of trying to pitch to Jose Altuve, thinking he could get one over on Altuve. It wasn't a bad pitch, but it was the 12-minute delay that really screwed him up, okay? And I get it, and I get routine, and I get rhythm. But Bruce Bochy and the Rangers should blame nobody but themselves and their right fielder, Adolis Garcia. Period. End of story. And I didn't fully understand the situation being there at the baseball game myself because I didn't know all of that. Is Garcia suspended too? I haven't heard anything about Garcia being suspended. No, he has not. Yeah, surprisingly, Garcia put his hands on the umpire twice. He also pushed Maldonado. And when he was removed from the situation, tried to reinsert himself back into the situation, going directly at Maldonado. And so at the end of the day, it's atrocious. And not only that, like I said earlier, MLB is suspending him. He's going to appeal. But if anything is upheld, I think they'll reduce it to 1 game. It's going to have to be served this year. And if you remember, Yuli Gurriel, for an incident I don't want to mention, was suspended for 5 games during the World Series for something he did in the dugout. What did Major League Baseball do? They didn't suspend him in the World Series. They suspended him 5 games in the regular season the next year. They don't usually in the playoffs suspend them during the playoffs unless it's something completely egregious. All right, so with that being said, I want to take y'all to the second part of this Dusty Baker interview. And just so you know, when we do get to the Framber Valdez interview, it is not 6.5. Well, I guess they're all about 6-minute long interviews. So here's the second half of Dusty Baker.
Second row on your far right, Jerome here.
Dusty, I talked to John Singleton in Minneapolis, and he said he was going to be ready when his number is called. That's easier said than done for a guy and as a player. I know you know that rhythm thing. What went into the decision of knowing that, or you thinking that he could deliver at that time, and then how impressive was him to come out there and not be over anxious?
I've been telling him that he was going to come up big. I told Kessinger the same thing. I said, hey, man, you're going to have a big role sooner or later in this part. You stay ready. I mean, that's their job. And it's up to us to keep them ready and remind them to be ready. I mean, I told Big Singleton, I said, dude, you might hit the home run that sends us to the World Series. That's part of my job as a manager and part of my job to believe in the players. I don't know if you guys remember. Remember, I told y'all that the circle is not complete unless the lesser is equal to the greater. So this is all part of the things I've been saying. I hate to repeat myself.
Go far back on your left with Chandler.
Dusty kind of got lost in the shuffle, but Tucker's double off of Chapman
Yes.
to get Leclerc in the game, and I mean the domino effect that had. Do you think that swing is something that can maybe get him going a little bit? And how encouraging was that to go?
No, that was big. That was big. I mean, his last 2 hits have been a blooper and then off of Chapman. I mean, that was huge. That one I noticed to get Leclerc in the game, and those extra pitches that's why I'm not crazy about putting reliever in 1 1/2 in the 8th inning, because if he has a semi long at bat or whatever it is and then sit back down and has to get back up, then that's become very difficult. Back in the day, when there were 3 inning saves, which you'll never see again, unless by accident. Yeah, that was huge. You don't know if it had any effect on Leclerc or not, but most of them are more used to 1 inning saves.
Stay on the left with Andrew.
Dusty, you guys have kept Corey Seager and Marcus Semien for the most part relatively neutral. You guys have had some success against them so far?
No, you leave them alone.
No.
Pick somebody else. I'm serious about this.
What have you made your pitching staff as a whole, and just how you've approached their lineup and to win these 3 games and to pitch well over the course of the time in Arlington?
It's a good question, but I refrain from answering because we don't need to tell them anything more than or give them any more motivation, because those two dudes are two of the baddest dudes in this league.
A few more on your right, Dusty, first row here.
Getting back to Chandler's question, I mean, does a lot of setting up for yesterday for Kyle go back to game 3 of actually watching pitches, seeing him go through, getting those walks, kind of getting the recalibration almost?
Yeah, well, the more pitches you see, the more your eye recognizes pitches to hit. And you know, I had hoped when I moved him down to 6 that he would see more pitches, but he would at least get some pitches to hit at the same time. You know, so am I crazy about him being in 6? No, but I need to get him going in order for me to move him, you know, back up. And, you know, pretty soon I think he'll be ready.
Good. Christy in the second row.
Dusty, after you won your first World Series last year, you immediately told us, now I want to win another one. Now that you're one win away from a chance to be able to do that, what's the feeling for you personally?
Nothing. You got to get there first. You know, you can't look at the finish line before you get to the finish line. You got to cross the finish line, then look back. So, and then, you know, hopefully we win tomorrow, then I'll tell you what the feel's like tomorrow on another step of the journey. You know, I mean, this is, you know, we got 5 steps to go. But number 1 step is tomorrow.
Yeah, one row behind with Greg.
Dusty, the Altuve homer, are there any other moments?
It's a long session.
We got 2 more.
Okay.
The Altuve homer yesterday, are there any other moments in your career, playoff-wise, you've been involved with, like that compares to maybe the Rick Monday homer in Montreal or anything like that?
Well, I was on deck on the Rick Monday homer. And, no, I wasn't on deck. I was on base. I'd gotten a hit up the middle off Woody Fryman before that. And then, yeah, there have been some Barry Bonds homer. I mean, I can't remember all these homers. I mean, the most recent one seems like the best one so far.
We'll finish up with Adam in the second row.
You've told us how quickly you can fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, after an emotional game like that, the significance of it, what last night was like for you, what it feels like today.
It was the same thing. Fell asleep immediately. I unpacked, fell asleep immediately. Then woke up in the middle of the night. My allergies were bothering me. Like I said, I couldn't breathe. Still can't. And when I told you the other day I had a virus, I wasn't lying. You know, I got a fear blister now. So then I was up at 3:30, just laying there till like on and off till 8:30. No, I didn't line up last night on the plane.
Dusty, thanks so much.
There he is. Dusty Baker said he did the lineup on the plane last night. They should have said, so, Dusty, why didn't you hang out with Htown Wheelhouse at Buc-ee's? That's right. That was, look, I love Dusty's responses in this entire interview. At one point, he gets annoyed at how long it is, and he's like, wow, this is a really long session. And I absolutely love that about Dusty because, you know, he's like, man, I got places to go. You know, I don't have time for all these questions. Y'all have all these questions. I don't really want to answer them, but I'm here. It's like I'm here so I don't get fined kind of thing. But it is this suspension makes absolutely no sense. So, you know, I had said that, well, you know, Jordan's been hit. So when Jordan was hit, why wasn't their pitcher suspended? There was a warning. There was no like throwing them out. And it's all because the ruckus that was started. Again, Adolis Garcia immediately turns to Maldonado, immediately gets in his face. Maldonado never once raises his hands to him until he feels like he's having to defend himself the second time when Adolis comes back at him. And that is the problem. The problem for me is not a suspension if a pitcher hits a batter. The problem for me is if you cannot prove intent, if you assume why the pitcher did it and you don't have a real firm reason as to why it happened, then a 2-game suspension, maybe a fine, but a 2-game suspension is absolutely abhorrent. It's really, really bad. But look, sometimes things do get bad, and sometimes we need a little help because we know about the supply chain issues we have in the world we live in. Sometimes there are natural disasters. Sometimes there are things like hurricanes. We know this all too well in the Gulf Coast. So when the supply chain breaks down, Jace Medical has your back. Right now, they have what's called the Jace case. It has 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. But the Jace case is a personalized emergency medication kit. It's not just some blase thrown together. You get these 5 medications every time. You can actually customize your case for your family, for y'all's unique needs. And they are continually working to expand their medication offerings. In these recent offerings, they have added ivermectin as an option in the Jace case. Also, you can get gift cards. Why not give the gift of just freedom of knowing you can take care of yourself if you can't get somewhere to get help? Buy a gift card for your family or loved one, and they will get their own Jace case at jacemedical.com. Use the promo code Locked On at checkout for a $20 discount. The promo code is Locked On at jasemedical.com, and you will get your Jace case. 5 life-saving antibiotics. All it takes is to get the Jace case, fill out an online form. In some cases, you jump on a quick call with one of the board-certified physicians. You get ongoing care from their physicians on any treatment-related questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Don't go unprepared. Don't be caught unprepared. Jace handles everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. So again, I want you to go to jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com and use a promo code Locked On and make sure that you and your family are taken care of today. And listen to the Astros play the Rangers on Sunday, 7:05. Catch the hometown play calls on Sirius XM. Go to the SXM app, search Astros. All right. We do have one more interview to go. I'll share a little bit more about what I think about Mr. Abreu and what in going forward, what should happen. And then we will wrap things up. So here we go with our third interview. Here is Framber Valdez, the starter for Game 6 for the Astros, going against Nathan Eovaldi. Here he goes.
Then Chandler will assist with translation. Who has the first question? We'll start with Chandler in the back.
Framber, tomorrow there could be a lot of just emotions from both teams given what happened in Game 5. How important will it be for you to control your emotions and to do your breathing and to kind of stay within yourself?
Mañana van a haber muchas emociones de parte de los dos equipos por lo que pasó ayer y eso, ese tipo de juego. ¿Cómo tú vas a poder tratar de controlar tus emociones y respirar y hacer todo eso?
Yo creo que el equipo de nosotros está capacitado para aguantar esas emociones y calmarse para mañana. Yo creo que el equipo de nosotros va a jugar normal mañana, sin presión, sin emoción, y jugar normal, o sea, el mismo juego. Uno no tiene que llegar con presión, ni acelerado, ni con más adrenalina de la cuenta. Simplemente jugar el béisbol que jugamos y se acabó.
You know, I think our team is built to be able to handle those types of emotions. I think they'll be able to calm down, you know, play the game that we know how to play, feel no pressure because of that. And, you know, I think everybody there will be able to calm down, you know, try not to play with too much adrenaline, just play the normal baseball that we play.
What about for you specifically?
Para ti específicamente.
Para mí, seguir haciendo lo que estaba haciendo la temporada regular, atacar la zona, tirar strike, sacar mi out, mantener las emociones, calmar las emociones, porque real, van a haber emociones, pero lo principal es calmarlas y jugar bajo presión, sin tú exhibirlas.
You know, I think for me, I'm just going to try to do what I did in the regular season. Just try to throw strikes, try to attack the strike zone, try to get outs, and, you know, and like you said, just try to control my emotions. I think I'll be able to do that. Try not to play with too much pressure or anything like that. I have to admit there will be emotions, but it's my job to be able to calm them down.
Other questions for Framber? Matt to your left, and then Christy.
No, I think when you try to go up there trying to be way too cautious is when things go wrong. My job, I think I'm just going to go out there, get on the mound, attack the strike zone, throw strikes, throw the ball how I know I can throw it. And, after I let go of the ball, obviously you sometimes can't control the results. Things happen from there. But, knowing what happened yesterday and everything like that, just try to attack the strike zone, have fun, and do everything by the book, try to do things the right way.
Christy in the second row, Framber.
Framber, I know you really like the navy blue jerseys, but I wondered after you guys went 3-0 in the orange ones, if you'd be interested in having the team wear those again tomorrow night.
Ella sabe que te gusta la camiseta azul marina, pero yendo allá ganando 3 juegos con la mamey, ¿tú piensas de cambiar camiseta?
Yo pienso que no. Yo siempre he dicho que la camiseta no es quien te hace ganar. A muchos lo usan como de cábula, como que si uso esta voy a ganar. No, el que ganamos somos nosotros. Y lo que nos ponemos el empeño somos nosotros. Y si nos ferramos a que una cosita no se ir mal, entonces cuando esa cosa no ¿cómo no va a ir? Entonces solamente jugar duro y no mentalizar las cosas que nos puedan pasar en el momento. Seguir jugando, que el béisbol es el mismo, sea la camiseta ahora, en azul, blanca, como sea, solamente hay que jugar.
No, I think some people try to use the jersey as a clutch of like, oh, that's why we play well. That's not how we play well. The team played well, and the team was the one that went out and got that win. Because we really got to think about like when you do wear that jersey or have that one thing and things don't go the way you want, like then what? So we're the team. Doesn't matter for me what jersey we use, whether it's the navy, the white, the orange. Just go out there and compete.
About 4 rows back, Jason.
I believe Dusty mentioned that you're just not locating pitches. Do you believe that is mechanical or feel? We've seen you in the outfield working on some things with some of the coaches in the past few days.
Dusty mencionó que no estás localizando tus picheos. ¿Tú crees que eso es algo mecánico, algo de cómo se sienten los picheos? ¿Qué tú piensas por qué es eso?
A veces como se sienten los picheos, a veces uno no se siente cómodo tirando algún picheo o lo tira bien, pero aún tú tirándolo bien te sientes como que, ok, no me gustó mucho la terminación. Y esas son cosas que uno mentaliza como humano. Yo le mentalicé un poquito y me salió un poquito del carril, de lo que es tirar strike y la zona. Pero yo creo que ya lo tenemos y creo que estamos enfocados para el próximo juego.
I think it's some feel. Some of it is feel. Sometimes you throw a pitch and, might go where you want, but then you just didn't feel you didn't like the way you finished there for that specific pitch. And, as a human, sometimes I just give it too much thought, start thinking about it, and then get out of my game. But, just need to focus. I think we're in a really good spot right now and just go out there.
Anything else for Framber? Christy?
Framber, how do you feel about the opportunity you have to go out there, pitch well for your team with the chance to go to the World Series again on the line?
¿Cómo te sientes la oportunidad que tienes de salir allá, pichar bien para tu equipo y dar la oportunidad a tu equipo de ir a la Serie Mundial?
Me siento bien, de verdad, me siento bien por la oportunidad que me han dado, a pesar de esas 2 salidas que tuve, que fueron bastante importantes, la perdí, como cualquiera puede hacerlo, pero le doy las gracias a Dustin y al equipo también, los muchachos que me dan la oportunidad de darme la bola una vez más, para demostrar lo que yo siempre he hecho, lo que siempre hemos sido, un buen equipo, y hacer el buen trabajo y confiar en los picheos, confiar en Dios y hacer el trabajo en el montículo, como siempre lo he hecho, y demostrar de qué estamos hechos.
It feels good. It feels good, and I thank Dusty and I thank my teammates. Despite the 2 bad outings that I had before this, it can happen to anyone, but it feels good that I do have the opportunity to be able to go out there, show that I can do what I've been doing, and hopefully with God and the hard work, we should be able to get there.
Left center aisle, straight back, Gabe.
How much does your postseason experience matter to you when you're starting a game of this magnitude?
¿Qué tanto importa para ti tu experiencia de postemporada cuando vas a pichar un juego así como mañana?
Importa mucho, porque la repetición, la consistencia de las cosas hace que tú tengas más capacidad de volver a repetirla y volver a cruzar por el mismo lado. Y me ha ayudado bastante las veces que hemos pasado a postseason para esta situación. O sea, que no es mi primera vez esta situación, ni mi segunda. Ya la hemos hecho, ya lo hemos logrado, ya hemos cruzado esa situación y yo creo que con el favor de Dios, el trabajo con los muchachos unidos y el equipo, podemos lograrlo.
Yeah, a lot. is a lot, and it just helps with all the repetitions, just being able to go through it and have done it in the past. Obviously, this is not my first or second postseason, so that just helps be able to stay calm and, God willing, with hard work with the guys and, even myself, hopefully be able to get the win tomorrow.
Anything else for Framber? Nothing else? All right, Framber, Jen, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so Alex, I see your comment. I'm not going to post it, but I'll address it without. I mean, it's not terrible what you said, but I understand it. But I can tell you right now why. Okay, so someone had made the comment, the Astros interpreter is not doing a very good job interpreting Framber Valdez when he's talking. Now, I will tell you this: the interpreter does try to take the main points of what he's saying and give it to them in English as quick as possible. They do not always interpret word for word. Now, I've never been an interpreter, obviously, but that's what I understand, that the interpreter actually tries to give you the gist of what he's saying, because sometimes a player will expound a little bit more. And in order to keep an interview going, they can't always say everything and every word that was said by the player that's speaking Spanish in this case. And so that's why some people think, oh gosh, this interpreter's terrible, or he's not doing his job. No, it's just that's actually what's going on there. Yeah, well, he does make six figures, but his job is to get in and out of the interview as quick as he can. So that's why it seems to miss some things. He tries to get the main points, and I've even experienced that when I got to interview Yordan Alvarez after his first rehab start in Sugar Land, and then when I interviewed Yainer Diaz with his agent. And I couldn't have told you if everything Yainer was saying was actually translated through the interpreter, but I got the gist and the main idea of what he was saying. So I muy poquito habla español. So I'm going to try to learn it, because, eventually I want to get to the Dominican Republic, and I want to find out more about these players and these kids that drop out of school at 11 and 12 years old to pursue baseball. And it's just something that's been on my heart for a while, and I'm hoping to start writing down plans for a project that I want to do featuring players from the Dominican Republic. I've got enough connections down there where I could really make it happen. So it would be really, really neat. So I'm working on slowly learning Spanish myself. Yes, poquito, muy poquito. My Spanish for the most part is what I would say muy mal. I'm not a missionary. I've done mission work, but this would be something where I would go down and use my connections through the Astros Dominican League and some player agents that I know that live in the Dominican Republic that would be willing to help me out. No, Eric's not good with Spanish. Neither one of us are. But anyways, thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight. Please put the likes up there. 132 of y'all showing up, even while there is a playoff game going on. I'm freaking honored that y'all showed up. So I'm not going to repeat that from TikTok. I got my TikTok live going while I'm doing this show, trying to hit all the socials tonight. So listen to the Astros play the Rangers Sunday, 7:05 p.m. Catch all the hometown play calls on Sirius XM. Go to the SXM app and search Astros. Hey, guys, I'm Htown Wheelhouse. Thank y'all for tuning in to Locked On Astros. As always, y'all make this job the best one in the world. It's not even a job. It's a dream, and you guys are a part of it. Putting out content every day. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing a live podcast from Legend Sports Grill in League City, Texas. If you're around League City, 6 o'clock, we'll be at Legend Sports Grill on 518 live before the Astros game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a packed house. So if you're going to show up, you better show up early. Trey, the owner, said, come on, let's do a podcast. We'll be doing it here in League City in our hometown, live podcast. So from myself, Eric the Man Huysman, and everyone at Locked On Astros, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a big fat thumbs up and make us your team every single day. Go Stros. Bury me in the H. Done.